Hello and welcome to another video. I thought it would be important to take the time and talk about kind of a year recap on the PlayStation 4 Pro. Do I think this machine's worth it? You know, how it's been supported in the past year and everything about it. And I thought that would be a fun topic to discuss here on the verge of the Xbox One X coming out. I'm going to be doing a full video review of the machine by the end of this month. I'm going to be capturing footage and playing games on it all month long, and going to give you guys, by the end of this month, my verdict on do I think that machine is worth the $500 price tag. But I thought it would be fun right now to take the time to go back and look at this past year and what the PlayStation 4 Pro has done, not only for gamers as a whole, but for the market share and all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about the PlayStation 4 Pro. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm still disappointed with the PlayStation 4 Pro. Now, this video has nothing to do with the games or lack of support for exclusive games or anything like that. This is just from the hardware standpoint of the machine itself and the promise of 4K. The PlayStation 4 Pro is not a true 4K machine. There's no way around it. It is a checkerboarded machine. It can output checkerboard resolutions, and on very rare occasions, it can actually output true 4K, but it's few and far between. It's just now going to be the weaker of the two systems, and that kind of was Microsoft's plan this whole time while developing the Xbox One X. However, the reason I'm disappointed in it has just simply been the lack of truly supported PlayStation 4 Pro games. There's only a handful of games I can count on one hand that really truly take advantage of the PlayStation 4 Pro and its capabilities, and that's really disappointing when we look at this machine's been out for a year. And again, I have to reiterate, this has nothing to do with games on the system or a lack of exclusive games or anything like that, because PlayStation 4, from a game standpoint, has had an outstanding year. And that's not the topic of this video. I'm specifically just looking at the hardware of the PlayStation 4 Pro and what it's done to benefit gamers in the last year, and I think it's disappointing. Now, one argument can be made that the reason the PlayStation 4 Pro support has been so disappointing in the past year is because developers were waiting for the Xbox One X to hit the ground running, and now they can easily just delve out these patches for these games and stuff. And that's fine. I fully understand that. Just when you have a bigger machine, a machine that's touted as a premium product, you should support it better. And I think Sony, in many ways, had almost the big stumbling out the gate with this mid-tier, mid-console generation refresh, as Microsoft had at the beginning of this generation with the Xbox One. They had this pretty bad conference last fall, a year ago in September, showcasing the machine. But the problem with showcasing that machine is unless you were actually in the room, in the conference room in New York City, you didn't actually see the benefits of 4K and HDR. You just got Mark Cerny talking to you about these things, and that was disappointing, because if you're watching on YouTube, you're not seeing a 4K display of it unless you actually had the ability, and many people didn't have the ability to watch that presentation in 4K last year. 4K has come a long way in the past year. More and more people are adopting 4K TVs. If you go walk into a Best Buy right now, or a Walmart, or a Target, or anything, most of the televisions you see on the shelves are 4K displays. You don't see a lot of 1080p displays anymore. They're kind of like the bargain bin TVs now. Kind of like when we made the jump from standard definition tube TVs to high definition TVs that were flat panel. It's kind of the same way right now. You'd be hard pressed to go out and buy just a straight up 1080p TV that's, over $500. Like, that's not really a thing anymore. Those TVs are incredibly cheap now. However, with the adoption of these 4K displays, yeah, I'd say now, this fall, is the time for a 4K capable machine, and the Xbox One X is totally going to be that. I've been watching a lot of the Digital Foundry videos, and they're definitely living up to their promise with that machine, and that's what makes going back and looking at the PlayStation 4 Pro even more of a disappointment, because the lack of support there has just been incredible, and I don't see enough people talking about it. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video, is because I don't see a lot of people talking about it. Part of the reason is I truly believe, as gamers, we just want to play great games. We don't really care. And when this generation started, the argument was graphical fidelity. That was the big, huge argument. I remember, you know, in 2013, every comparison video between PS4 and Xbox One, and the arguments of this machine is $100 cheaper and outputs these games better and plays these games better than this $500 machine. I understood. I got it. I fully understood. But the focus of that has shifted in the past couple of years from that to exclusive games. And PlayStation is killing it. They've killed it this generation with having the better machine up to this point, having exclusive games. But how about games that are exclusive that also take advantage of this machine? Well, it's kind of few and far between. Let's look at some of the big titles this year. Horizon Zero Dawn, I would say, is the biggest argument to owning a PlayStation 4 Pro. If you have a 4K TV or a 4K TV with HDR, that game looks utterly jaw-dropping with the PS4 Pro and runs just a tad better, I would say. That game actually is well optimized for the base PS4, but it runs a lot better on the PS4 Pro. That is a huge argument to buy a PS4 Pro. And I had a bunch of friends that bought a PS4 Pro just to play Horizon Zero Dawn. You know, I adopted the PS4 Pro day one because I always adopt things day one. That's how I've been for like the last 20 years of my life. But what about some other games that have come out? A huge shining example that I would use as a question mark to what the hell is going on would be The Evil Within 2. Now, this one is interesting because it actually doesn't have any PS4 Pro support. It's not even labeled on the back of the box. A lot of games will have like a PS4 Pro logo. This game has nothing. No PS4 Pro support. It is 1080p 30 frames on both Xbox One and PS4. But here's the interesting thing to know. Well, yes, that game does not have PlayStation 4 Pro support right now. It is listed on the X Enhanced Games list for the Xbox One X. So I imagine a PS4 Pro patch for that game is coming at some point. It'll probably be checkerboarded because that seems to be what the PlayStation 4 Pro is capable of. And maybe the Xbox One X version of the game is going to be true 4K. I don't know. You also have to remember, it is up to the developers if they want to make these games true 4K. Yes, you look at the Xbox One X and you see right now these comparison videos and the Digital Foundry videos and stuff where you're seeing things like Gears of War 4 running at native 4K. You know, and yes, the first party games are going to do that because Microsoft has invested the money and the time in those studios to do that. They're not going to do that for third-party games other than like maybe something they have a marketing deal with like Assassin's Creed Origins or Shadow of War. You know, other than that, like you look at it, some of these patches might just be a PS4 Pro patch, you know, drop down file save as and shipped out. One of the most recent PS4 Pro patches that just is a complete utter joke to me is the Metal Gear Solid 5 patch for PS4 Pro, The Phantom Pain. That game, literally all they did was they went into an option menu, they did a file save as 1440p or 2K resolution, shipped that patch, and then Konami, being the shitty ass company that they are, came out and touted this as like a big deal. Oh, we have a PS4 Pro patch that makes this game look so much better. All you did was up the resolution. You didn't change any of the textures. You didn't do any other work other than file save as and ship. So, and I've seen a lot of cases like this with the PS4 Pro, a lot of weak and lazy patches and patchwork just to say, hey, we have a PS4 Pro version of this game. That's been disappointing. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how things work on the Xbox One X. I picked up, in anticipation for the Xbox One X, Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, you know, is a game I've wanted to play. And I will have comparison videos in my Xbox One X of what it looks like on the base Xbox One and what it looks like on the Xbox One X. But what I can tell you, one of the big things is on this box, it literally says in the corner, 4K Ultra HD Xbox One X Enhanced. This game is fully Xbox One X Enhanced. I know it has PS4 Pro work. I actually haven't looked into that. If I were a betting man, you know, I would probably say that that game's not native 4K on the PS4 Pro, but I don't know because I haven't played it yet. So, getting back on the subject at hand, I've just been disappointed with the PlayStation 4 Pro this you know, year here, and just the lack of support, or games that come out that even have the freaking logo on the box and don't have any PlayStation 4 Pro support. A big offender of this was Prey this year. Prey came out for the PS4 Pro touting PlayStation 4 Pro upgrades and didn't actually ship with any. They had to patch it in a month after the game was released, and even then it was some simple shadow textures were changed just a little bit and the game ran just a tad smoother, and they also fixed the controller input lag on that version because it was bad. So it's just stuff like that where you have to scratch your head and go, what? Like, what is this thing? I feel, honestly, Sony jumped the gun too quickly with this machine, and they should have waited another year, and they should have put this out head-to-head, and they would have had another year to maybe make the machine just a little more powerful. And yeah, I know the argument, you know, and it's going to upset PlayStation fanboys and stuff because I'm shitting on their system, and you have to understand, I'm shitting on the hardware of the system and the specs. I'm not shitting on the games. And at the end of the day, games are what matters with these two machines, and PlayStation 4 has the games. They have the games. They are the place to play. If you want to play the best and the greatest and the exclusive, keyword there being exclusive, I can't play this anywhere else, PlayStation is the way to go. You know, you look at this spring, you look at all the great games that came out, you look at things like Neo, I didn't care for it, but other people did. You look at Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5, Nier Automata, all these games came out within 2 months of each other. And I'm sure I'm forgetting one in there that was exclusive, but that's me. However, all these games came out within 2 months of each other. You look at the Xbox One, what were the exclusive games we got this year? Okay, well, we got Halo Wars 2, which didn't set the world on fire. We got, I guess if you really want to get technical, you could count the Phantom Dust remake. However, I don't like to count that because it's free to play, and I think it was kind of just shitted out because they knew it wasn't going to make any money. You have Forza 7, and now this coming week here, you're going to have Super Lucky's Tale. So, you know, it's bad on Xbox's front when it comes to exclusive games. Now, their 2018 is looking really good right now. You have Crackdown 3, you know, was the big launch title for the Xbox One X and got delayed. You have Sea of Thieves, which I think more people should be talking about. Their technical alphas have been really good. Even though there's not 100% a lot of stuff to do in that game right now, it is fascinating just to see what that game's going to become and kind of get into it on the ground floor. That's all I can really say about that game. State of Decay 2 looks good, but again, that game's not going to set the world on fire. They have to have a 2018 E3 that just hits the ground running and shows exclusive, exclusive, exclusive. And Sony could kill it again next year. We don't know. You know, some things have been announced, but a lot of them are multi-platform. You know, you look at stuff like Monster Hunter World, which looks awesome. But you also have things that are exclusive, like Ni no Kuni 2, that also looks awesome. Those are 2 January titles. So, you know, already the year's starting off strong on both ends of the spectrum. So it's going to be interesting to see. E3 is going to be really interesting next year. I wonder to myself, like, does Sony talk about PS5? Do they talk about another iteration of the PlayStation 4? Or do they just concentrate on games and their VR headset? Because it seems like they're really diving in on the VR headset right now. I don't know. I don't have that answer. You know, I could speculate, but that's not going to get anybody anywhere. So I'm very interested to see. But just speaking from a hardware standpoint, the PlayStation 4 Pro has been a disappointment for me in this year, just in terms of how they've handled their upgrades, how they've approached telling you if a game is upgraded, touting those features, you know. And I think on the other side of things, Microsoft has been fully out front about, hey, this game has an update, this is what it does, and so on, in a way that Sony really hasn't. It just kind of slapped a logo on the back of the box and let you figure it out. Another thing I really dislike about the PlayStation 4 Pro is when you're playing a game that has Pro-enabled support, there's no, like, baseline for what the options are. A lot of times it's either, hey, do you prefer frame rate, do you prefer resolution, but you're not actually seeing the numbers. You're not actually seeing what you want to do in that game. One game that has fabulous PlayStation 4 Pro support is The Surge. This is a shining example of what PlayStation 4 Pro support should be. They give you the option and they tell you in the options straight up, hey, this one is frame rate only. It's going to be 1080p 60 frames. But if you want more detail, you can play the game in 4K at 30. Now, it's not true 4K, it is checkerboard resolution, but they're doing the same thing with this game on the Xbox One X, and it will be true native 4K on the Xbox One X. That is important to note, but for PlayStation 4 Pro, this is the most upfront game about PlayStation 4 Pro support. Even, and man, say PlayStation 4 Pro support like 3 times fast. That's a real tongue twister. You even look at something like Horizon Zero Dawn, there were no options. It just was you put the game in and it worked better on PlayStation 4 Pro. You know, all I wanted out of these machines, and I don't know if I'm going to get it or not, is the ability to choose frame rate or resolution. And that's all I really want. I'm happy with 1080p 60 frames. If you can give me a higher frame rate, that's fine. That's all I really wanted, and I feel like in some ways I've gotten that, in some ways I haven't. So it's going to be interesting to see at the end of this month here, you know, after using the Xbox One X for a month, seeing exactly how that works, how much better I like that versus the PlayStation 4 Pro. And we might even do a comparison video on what I think is the better machine if you're looking for a high tier upgrade, you know, from whatever you currently have. So, again, I want to re-stress as I end this video, I don't think the PlayStation 4 Pro is a bad machine, and they have excellent exclusives on the PlayStation. This has been the year of PlayStation for me. I've barely touched my Xbox One this year, so that's one of the reasons why I'm really excited to jump back into that ecosystem with the Xbox One X. And the PlayStation 4, you know, PS4 has had, you know, countless exclusive after exclusive after exclusive, and Microsoft right now is kind of confused on what that word means. You know, they keep throwing out like, this is console exclusive or this is timed exclusive. It's like, I don't want any of those words. Just tell me, is this game exclusive to your platform? Yes or no, and move on. That's where I am with it. So if you're out there and you already own a PS4 and you're on the fence of like, well, I have this 4K TV, I'll tell you right now, if you don't have a 4K TV and you have a PS4 and you're thinking about upgrading to a PS4 Pro, don't. Wait until you have a 4K TV. You're not going to see the benefits. And yes, I know they use these terms of like super sampling and down sampling, and it'll look a little crisper, but you really won't notice an actual difference unless you have a 4K display. So if you're the PlayStation 4 owner on the other side of this camera and you are thinking about getting a PS4 Pro, you're not really sure, but you have a 1080p screen, just wait till you get a 4K TV. Look at the Black Friday deals this year. There are probably going to be some really great 4K HDR-enabled TVs on sale this year, I would say. So I'm actually, at some point in the future here, looking at upgrading to a 4K HDR-enabled TV. Because unfortunately, as I've said in other videos, I jumped the gun a little bit too early. I got a beautiful 55-inch 4K TV over here, but it's not HDR-enabled because it was made before HDR was a thing. So I don't get the HDR benefits on this TV. Now, they could patch my TV to have that because the ability is in there. But the manufacturer that makes my TV doesn't want to do that because they'd be losing money. They'd rather have you go out and just buy a new TV. So I am looking in the future to maybe upgrade to a better 4K TV, and I just haven't bit that bullet yet. That's an expense I don't want to think about right now. So, but if you're a 4K TV owner and you've been hooked up your PlayStation 4 this whole time playing on a 4K TV, then I would say yes, you probably should upgrade to a Pro. Maybe when your system is starting to get a little funky or sound like a jet engine or something, because some people's PlayStation 4s are starting to get that way now, which is kind of funny because it was like the 360 all over again in terms of that. Then I would say yes, you should go out and you should buy a PS4 Pro. I mean, you might as well buy the best version of something if you're upgrading. But if you're the 1080p guy out there with a 1080p TV and you have a regular PS4, no reason to go out and buy a PS4 Pro, even a year after. It just isn't supported enough. The only other thing I want to say, and then we'll close this video, and I wanted to throw this in there as kind of the last game I wanted to talk about in this video. Sometimes you'll get patches that break a game for you. Prime example of this is the PlayStation 4 Pro support for Final Fantasy 15. Now, I played about half of this game before, and then I stopped because I was waiting for the PS4 Pro patch, and then when it hit, all they did was turn off the frame rate cap. So the game was kind of a locked, but still kind of all over their frame rate before at 30, and then the PS4 Pro support is, hey, we unlocked the frame rate. It is awful to play that way. I need things locked at either 30 or 60, and I'm fine. If you have an unlocked frame rate, it's one of my biggest pet peeves in video games because it's just so noticeable, and for me personally, it drags the experience down. So honestly, I would tell you that game, I'm actually looking right now. I'm going to wait. I want to see comparison videos on what the Xbox One X enhancements are for Final Fantasy 15. And I'll be honest, if that game has good enhancements for Xbox One X and it's better than the PS4 Pro version, I might just go out and buy an Xbox One version of that game and just play it there instead and start over again. I haven't decided yet, but that was the last game I kind of wanted to talk about because some PlayStation 4 Pro supported games just unlock the frame rate, and that's a terrible thing to do because it makes your game look like garbage when the frame rate's going from 60 to 45 to 30 to 25, and you're just like, what the hell am I playing? So anyways, guys, we're gonna wrap this video up, and again, one last time, just because I feel like I have to beat this to death, I'm not shitting on the games of PlayStation 4. don't fire off in the comments that I'm a PlayStation 4 hater or anything like that. I just think for what the upgrade is, it's been mildly to, I wouldn't even say severely, but it's been mildly to middle of the road disappointing for me in terms of what the system offers and, you know, what their upgrade pattern is. It just doesn't seem like there's any real regulations to patches, and I hope that maybe with the Xbox One X coming out, that there will be more regulations on what that is. So anyways, guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment in the comment section below, and as always, until next time.